Ukraine's defense forces clashed with Russian occupation forces 49 times across 4 fronts over the course of the 15th of May. Source: General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook. Information is of 6 o'clock on the 16th of May. Quote from the General Staff: over the course of the past 24 hours, enemy forces deployed different types of missiles in another large-scale attack on Ukraine. More details will be available in due course. Over the course of the past day, Russian forces deployed S-300 anti-aircraft missile systems to carry out 2 missile strikes on Kostiantynivka in Donetsk Oblast. The Russian Federation also carried out 48 airstrikes and deployed multiple launch rocket systems in more than 50 further attacks. The threat of further missile strikes and airstrikes remains high across all of Ukraine as the enemy continues to pursue terror tactics. The enemy forces are focusing their main efforts on the Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Marinka fronts. A total of 49 clashes occurred on these fronts over the past 24 hours. The cities of Marinka and Bakhmut remain at the epicenter of hostilities. Details: there is no evidence that Russia is forming new offensive units on the Volyn and Polishcha fronts. On the Severshchina and Slobozhanshchina fronts, Russian forces deployed mortars and artillery to attack Yeli, Medvedivka and Muravy Chernihiv Oblast, Bovkivka, Manukivka, Stukalivka, Iskryskivshchina, Volfin, Shpyl and Stepik, Sumy Oblast, and Kazaka Lopan, Hoptivka, Lukiantsy, Hatish, Budarki, Nestern, Krul, Zemlyanki and Starivcha, Kharkiv Oblast. Russian forces are persevering in their attempts to improve their tactical positions on the Kupiansk front, conducting unsuccessful offensive operations in the vicinity of Mashutivka and Novoselivsky. Russian aircraft conducted an airstrike in the vicinity of Kyslivka. Russian forces also deployed mortars and artillery to attack Vorochansk, Kamyanka, Krasny Persh, Mitrofanivka, Fyholivka, Novomlinsk, Vorokna, Zapadna, Kindrashivka, Kupiansk, Kyslivka, Tabevka and Berestov Kharkiv Oblast, and Stelmakivka Luhansk Oblast. Russian forces did not undertake offensive operations on the Lyman front, but conducted an airstrike in the vicinity of Spern and shelled Makivka and Bilohorivka, Luhansk Oblast, and Verkhnekamiansk and Spern, Donetsk Oblast. On the Bakhmut front, Russian forces are continuing to conduct offensive operations. Fighting for the city of Bakhmut is still ongoing. Russian forces conducted unsuccessful offensive operations near Ivanovsky, Hurahorivka, Bodanivka, Bakhmut, Ivanovsky, Stupochki, Druzhba, Oleksandro Shultin, Pivnikny, Zalians, Petrivka, Tereskin. New York. Donetsk Oblast came under Russian fire. On the Avdiivka front, Russian forces conducted offensive operations in the vicinity of Avdiivka, but were unsuccessful. They conducted airstrikes on Avdiivka and attacked Stepov, Lastochkin, Avdiivka, Pervomaysk and Karlivka. Donetsk Oblast. On the Marinka front, Ukraine's defense forces repelled numerous Russian assaults in the vicinity of Marinka. Donetsk Oblast. Krasnohorivka, Hostre, Marinka, Heorhivka and Novomikhailivka came under Russian fire. On the Shakhtarsk front, Russian forces attacked Vuhledar, Prekostivka, Novokranka and Shakhtarsk. Donetsk Oblast. Russian forces are on the defensive on the Zaporizhia and Kherson fronts. They conducted airstrikes on Vilnpol, Donetsk Oblast, Molotokmichka, Zaporizhia Oblast, and Stanislav and Kizimysk, Kherson Oblast, and attacked Berlatsky, Vilnpol and Novopil, Donetsk Oblast, Olhaivsky, Malinivka, Huliaipol, Zaliznikny, Huliaipilsky, Bilahiria, Molotokmichka, Orikhiv and Kamyansk, Zaporizhia Oblast, Nikopol, Dnepropetrovsk Oblast, and Kherson Oblast. Ukraine's Air Force conducted 9 airstrikes on clusters of Russian military personnel and equipment and 7 on Russian anti-aircraft missile systems. A total of 6 Russian unmanned aerial vehicles (UAVs) were shot down. Ukraine's rocket forces and artillery struck 3 Russian command posts, 5 clusters of military personnel, 4 artillery field units, an anti-aircraft missile system, 5 electronic warfare systems, and an ammunition storage point. The General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces reported on May 15 that Russia has lost 199,460 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion, with an estimated 580 casualties on May 13. Ukrainian military hit Russian ammunition storage point, General Staff. During the day, the Ukrainian army hit an ammunition storage point, a control point, 2 areas of concentration of manpower, 3 artillery units in firing positions and 2 electronic warfare stations of the Russian troops. Source: General Staff on Facebook. Details: in addition, the Air Force of the Ukrainian Defense Forces carried out 7 strikes on the areas of concentration of Russian personnel and military equipment during the day, as well as 7 more on Russian anti-aircraft missile systems. At the same time, during this period, Russia launched 2 missile attacks on Kostiantynivka, Donetsk Oblast, using S-300 air defense systems. In addition, Russia carried out 38 airstrikes and more than 25 attacks from multiple launch rocket systems. The Russians continue to focus their primary efforts on Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Marinka fronts. 37 military confrontations occurred. Bakhmut and Marinka remain at the epicenter of fighting. Russia continues to conduct offensive operations on the Bakhmut front. Heavy fighting for Bakhmut continues. In addition, during the day, Russia conducted unsuccessful offensive operations on the village of Ivanovsky. On the Marinka front, units of the defense forces repelled numerous Russian attacks near the city of Marinka. The General Staff also said that to strengthen control over the population of occupied Crimea, the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation conduct raids on railway and bus stations. Crimean Tatars are subject to priority inspection. In occupied Crimea, Russian secret forces conduct enhanced inspections at railway and bus stations, primarily inspecting Crimean Tatars. Source: report of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine as of the evening of the 15th of May. Quote from the General Staff: to strengthen control over the population in temporarily occupied Crimea, operational groups of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation conduct raids on railway stations and bus stations. Crimean Tatars are subject to priority inspection. Details: in addition, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine report that recently, in the temporarily occupied territory of Zaporizhia Oblast, persons who agreed to cooperate with the Russian occupiers are offered to renounce their Ukrainian citizenship and accept Russian citizenship in writing. According to the Ukrainian military, those who refuse are threatened with dismissal from their jobs with further persecution by Russians.